On this episode of Let's Talk Drones, we are reviewing, finally, the DRONETAG RIDER. Our friends over at DRONETAG sent this to me a while back, and I've really dropped the ball on reviewing it. There have been circumstances in my control that I've just sort of let slide, and then there have been some that are outside of my control that have delayed this review. A lot of you might be watching this intro and skeptical as to whether or not this is a product that you'd even be interested in, and I'm here to maybe change your mind and give you some perspective on it. So let's not waste any more time. Let's talk drones. What's up? It's Chris, the Drone Geek, and welcome to another episode of Let's Talk Drones. So I want to apologize first and foremost to our friends at DRONETAG. They sent this to me last year, and frankly, there were a few things that came into play that kept me from getting this out in a timely manner, and I just want to thank them for their extreme patience. The ones that were outside of my control were the weather, scheduling. There were a variety of things that just made it difficult to make time for this product, but it was a little bit different than other products that I've reviewed on this channel. Weather and time and things outside of my control have delayed reviews for other products that are more drones. They're actual drones that you fly, but I've always been able to fit them in, and it's because I know how to talk about those products. I know what's important to you, and I know what's important to me from a reviewer standpoint and what I look for in a good drone product. This is a little bit different in that I didn't really know how to tackle this, because if you're not familiar with what the DRONETAG RIDER is, it's a remote ID detection device. So this doesn't broadcast remote ID. This detects remote ID being broadcasted out in the airspace. And so I thought to myself, well, this is gonna be a gadget that's used to actually identify and locate drone pilots like me. And that was a cause for concern. I didn't really know why I would want to review a product like this, why I'd want to talk about a product like this. And after giving it a lot of thought and chewing on it for a very long time, like longer than I probably should have, I finally sort of came to the conclusion that it is important that I talk about a product like this for two reasons that I've come down to. The first one is that this is a tool that commercial operators and anyone flying with more than one drone in a given airspace can utilize for traffic management. So when you talk about operations, whether they're coordinated or uncoordinated, i.e. you're flying in an airfield, if you have remote ID on board all of the drones sharing that airspace, you can use a device like this to see exactly where drones are at in the airspace without having to actually verbally exchange information with a pilot that might be 30 yards away operating their drone. Somebody can have their finger on the pulse for an operation, understand where the drones are at in the airspace that's being operated in, and call out where aircraft might have conflicts when sharing that airspace. That's the first reason that I wanted to share this with you, is because there is a practical application for this for drone pilots specifically. The other reason I want to share this with you is because I think it's important that you know, as a drone pilot, what devices there are out there accessible to law enforcement, to federal enforcement, to a variety of other private parties that might be interested in what's going on in the airspace relating to drones. It's important that you understand the tools that are at their disposal, and this is one of those tools. This can be used to detect drones in the airspace, like I said in the example with commercial operators, for somebody that's monitoring the airspace, whether it's during a professional sports competition like the NFL, like MLS, anything that would be considered sensitive airspace while an event's going on. It could be a large gathering, a concert, whatever the case may be. It's very likely that a private security agency, that local law enforcement, state law enforcement, and even federal law enforcement could be carrying something like this on them, or something more advanced, but this is pretty low cost for what they're trying to accomplish, and it's easy to use. And I'm going to show you how to use it here in just a few minutes. So I know that there might be apprehension and there might be some pushback on the idea of talking about remote ID and products that are considered in the counter-UAS space, which is what I would put this in, just because of its base premise use. Again, drone pilots can use this to coordinate operations for themselves, which would make it not counter-UAS in that specific use case. But But when we really look at what this is, it is a counter-UAS system in that it is used to detect UAS in the airspace. Not necessarily do anything about it, but just let anybody that's interested and has one of these devices know what drones are in the airspace, what they're doing, what height they're flying at, who they're being flown by, where the operator's at, etc. Before I show you how the DRONETAG Rider works, let's talk about some of the specs for the DRONETAG Rider. The DRONETAG Rider is a compact drone detection device with a total weight with antenna attached of 64 grams. They've got the weight listed at 56 grams without the antenna attached, but frankly, you're not going to use this without the antenna, and it's negligible anyway. That 8 grams doesn't really make much of a difference when you're working in figures this small. Its total footprint is 134 by 53 by 20 millimeters, again, making it very easy to put in any vest pocket, any pants pocket, basically any pocket you can find on clothing. This thing's probably going to fit in them relatively easy, and you probably won't notice it's there because, again, it's so lightweight. As far as battery and power goes, it's powered by a 1000 milliamp hour lithium polymer battery, giving it 6 to 10 hours of life, and it charges via a USB-C charging port on the bottom of the device. The total detection range for the DRONETAG Rider is 5 kilometers using the default antenna and up to 10 kilometers using a higher performance antenna, and you can swap antennas off to your liking as long as they are compatible with the SMA port on the DRONETAG Rider. But again, you can customize your antennas, and in fact, the DRONETAG Rider was sent to me with a vehicle roof antenna. So it has an adhesion device or an adhesion element on the bottom of the antenna. It then has plenty of length of wire down to the DRONETAG Rider, which would sit in the vehicle, and the antenna can sit on the outside of the vehicle, so you can get maximum range and signal penetration by having your antenna outside of the vehicle that you're in and being able to still detect remote ID in a given airspace. When it comes to connectivity, it's got an integrated SIM for LTE-M and NB-IoT. It's also got Bluetooth 2.4 gigahertz and Wi-Fi 2.4 gigahertz capabilities. It has GNSS support with GPS L1, GLONASS L1, Galileo E1, BeiDou B1, and SBAS. In environmental conditions, it can operate from minus 20 degrees Celsius to 60 degrees Celsius. That's minus 4 degrees Fahrenheit to 140 degrees Fahrenheit. And it is IP54 rated, which means that you can use it in light precipitation without much of a worry. When it comes to using the DRONETAG Rider, it's really easy and straightforward. There's not a lot to this in terms of moving parts. It's literally a power button on the side of the device. And before I actually turn this on, I do want to draw your attention to that charging port I talked about in the spec section. It's just USB-C on the bottom of the DRONETAG Rider. So it's very, very easy to integrate a charging system and improvise charging systems for the DRONETAG Rider on the fly. Back to how you operate this device. It's just the power button on the side. You're going to press and hold for a few seconds, and then you're going to see lights are going to pop up on the DRONETAG Rider. Everything's going to illuminate, and then it's going to go into its initialization mode, where it's just going to calibrate all of its sensors. It's going to make sure everything's working correctly, and as long as you've got green lights across the board there, you're good to go. Now, right now, I'm sitting inside, so that middle light that you see just sort of flashing there and sort of hanging at a greenish yellow, not a full green, that's the GNSS. So it's looking for GPS satellites so they can give the operator an accurate position in the DRONETAG app, which is where you're going to utilize this to actually see all of the data regarding the sensors and the sensing of drones in the airspace. Since I'm inside, it's hard for this to pick up those GPS satellites. Now, when it comes to using this to detect remote ID, I had a few ideas of how I wanted to do this video, and this is where that scheduling conflict came in, because I had some ideas. First, the idea was I was going to get a bunch of my drone pilot friends together, and we were going to do a mock operation with all of our drones and utilize the DRONETAG Rider to deconflict the airspace as we were operating within it. That was my first idea, but it became very, very difficult to coordinate all of the people that I needed to get together in order to really show you the power of the DRONETAG Rider in that application. The next idea that I had to do with an Easter egg hunt, and I was going to invite Sam Karp onto the channel again to participate in an Easter egg hunt or a remote ID hunt, where one of us would hide remote ID modules while the other one used the DRONETAG Rider to find those modules and then basically collect them. And frankly, it became very difficult to even coordinate schedules with Sam because he's busy doing his thing, I'm busy doing my things, and it just got to be too much, and I was delaying way, way, way too long. So instead of doing that, I'm going to do something a little less exciting, but it's still going to demonstrate to you the power of this device. I'm going to turn on 3 remote ID devices that I have here sitting on my desk. I've got a Ruco I think it's the 111 remote ID device that I featured in a remote ID device comparison video a little bit earlier. I've got the Ruco, and then I've got 2 DRONETAG beacons. And the 2 DRONETAG beacons are the ones that I'm used to. I use DRONETAG for all of my remote ID needs. The Ruco was sent to me for review purposes, but I want to show you the true agnosticism of the DRONETAG Rider. You don't just sense DRONETAG remote ID devices, you sense everything. It is completely agnostic in that regard. And so bringing another company's remote ID module into the fold lets you see that and have it demonstrated for you in real time. So I'm gonna go turn these on, plant them outside, and then I'll come back and we'll take a look at the DRONETAG app and I'll show you how all of this functions together. On the screen here, you'll notice that it's picked up all 3 of the devices, and they're not terribly far away from where I'm at, but you can hear in the background the rider beeping. That's to let you know, without actually having the app open, that there's something nearby when it comes to remote ID. The rider detects that and alerts you when there's a remote ID signal somewhere in the vicinity. Then all of you have to do to address that is press the middle button on the rider. At that point, it will mute the beeps, so you don't have to listen to that while you're working through what's going on. You open up your DRONETAG app with your rider active, and it will show you all of the remote ID broadcasts that are happening around you. And you can see that here. When I go through and I tap on each of the icons, they have little drone symbols in them. You can see this first beacon closest to the building is the DRONETAG beacon. It shows me its location. It shows me the operator takeoff location, which is the same because it's just sitting on one of my vehicles. And then it shows you the heading of the remote ID module, as well as some other information that would be pertinent if the operator had uploaded it, like operator ID, for instance. So it gives you plenty of information there to understand what's going on in the airspace around you. You can then go ahead and move on to the next location. We have another DRONETAG beacon here. Again, slightly different information, but it tells you everything you need to know in real time about the drone operation in question. And then finally here to show you that it works with other remote ID companies and their products, we have the Ruco R111 remote ID module, which I planted a little bit further away. And again, it gives you all of that same pertinent information to a flight. So you can see everything that's going on with the drones around you in real time. It's really that simple. I really don't have anything else to expand on when it comes to using the DRONETAG Rider. All of the information that you need is in that DRONETAG app. Once you've paired this with your account and with your app, it's very, very easy to access. On top of that, when it comes to detecting the remote ID devices around you, again, whether it's a drone that's broadcasting it from its inner components or it's a drone that has a remote ID device attached externally, it doesn't matter. The DRONETAG Rider is completely RID agnostic. It will pick everything that's broadcasting remote ID up to 10 kilometers with the enhanced antenna system and up to 5 kilometers with this default antenna that comes with the device. Again, I want to apologize to my friends at DRONETAG. Seriously, I recognize that I dropped the ball and I've been sitting on this thing for quite some time. I especially want to apologize to Katerina. Katerina is one of the wonderful marketing representatives from DRONETAG that works with me on sending me products to review here on the channel, and she was the one that led the charge with the DRONETAG Rider. Katerina, I am so sorry. I really am. She went full-on tiger mode and came at me real hard right before I planned on recording this video. And I kind of liked it, not in a weird way. So again, Katerina, I'm so sorry. Seriously, you're awesome. I appreciate you being so patient and all of your teammates over at DRONETAG. We finally got it done. We finally got it out there. Now, before I wrap the video up, there's one piece of information that I haven't touched on that I think is important for you to know about the DRONETAG Rider, and that is the pricing. So this retails for roughly $1,100. Now, with tariffs, import fees, things like that, that price I've found on different websites can fluctuate from somewhere around $1,100 base to up to $1,300 is the most expensive that I've seen one retail for. So you're looking at just over $1,000 either way to purchase the DRONETAG Rider kit. Again, this is not geared towards drone pilots specifically. There is a secondary use application for this, but from a drone pilot's perspective, I don't know that I would buy one of these unless I had a super big project coming up and it was necessary to actually have the device to deconflict the airspace. There aren't many scenarios I can think of where that would be so important that I'd spend $1,100 to $1,300 on something like this. I would rather just coordinate verbally via communication in real time while I'm flying. But I suppose that there are use cases as a drone pilot where this might be something that I would use. More often than not, this product is going to be purchased by law enforcement, state law enforcement, local law enforcement, private agencies, whether it's security agencies, whatever. They're going to be the ones that purchase something like this as a low cost to them solution for detecting drones in the airspace. It'll mostly be drones that are flown by like the consumer pilot, those folks that are like key audience members for DJI and Autel, because those drones natively broadcast remote ID. It won't be super effective against pilots that build their own or fly different commercial devices, whatever the case may be, because they don't necessarily have onboard remote ID, and those pilots may not want to broadcast remote ID. So there obviously is a limitation with this, but if the pilot is being compliant, whether they know it or not, this device will help to locate their drone and where they're operating from. So, and it does it pretty effectively, if I might add. As you saw on the phone app, the locations were pretty spot on with where the actual devices were planted. But what do you think? Is this a product you'd be interested in, or are you just happy to know that it exists so that you can understand what particular parties that might be interested in locating you and your drone while you're operating it might be using to do that? Let me know down in the comments below. If you liked this video, hit the thumbs up icon down below. It helps me out a lot, helps get this video out into the algorithm to more viewers like yourself. If you really love this video and you love drone content shot by drones, about drones, and for drone pilots, my friend, this is the channel for you. Make sure you get subscribed if you haven't already, and while you're at it, hit the bell icon too. You'll get a notification every time I post a new video. Until next time, I'm Chris the Drone Geek, and I'm out of here. See ya.
Yo, what you say? Steady screaming, YOLO, rock